I'm like, I like Muscle Party, but I don't expect you to like Muscle Party like independently, just because it is kind of an oddity. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I started this brand, and then the pandemic hit, and then all this happened.
Yeah.
And like people who watch like Creator Clash, and they're like, yeah, I think I remember that guy from like Machinima.
Yeah.
Or like, what? He's still making videos? So I get it. It's like a weird, confusing category. That's not like a strong thing. So I'm happy to exist in multiple kind of phases. And I'm like, maybe you saw me in boxing. Maybe you saw me on Machinima Realm. Maybe you watched Couch Hop for like a week. Whatever. Whatever lets you come up and be like, hey, man, what's up? It's like, I'm happy with it. So.
Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 475. 25 away from the big 500. And today's episode is incredible, fantastic. It's the first of three, count 'em, three, interviews I did live and in person at RTX Austin 2022. I'm just gonna say it. My guest today he's the man. He's an awesome individual who is one of the founders of Couch Hop. He has his new project now, Muscle Party. Brett Hundley is on the podcast, and we talk about a lot of things. I was a huge Couch Hop fan, still am. I love watching the videos, and I'm still glad that they're still available. And, we go into it. And we also talk about Creator Clash, the charity boxing event that he participated in. And just so fantastic to hear from him. Brett truly is a phenomenal individual and deserves to be treated as such. All right. But, again, first of three episodes, two more coming out in the next couple of days. But still, I gotta stop talking because we need to get in this episode, all right? So everybody sit back, relax, and Brett, take it away.
How's it going? Pretty good. How do you feel about me?
Oh, I was kidding.
Okay, excellent.
Especially when we're talking, it's fine. There's no one in here. So,
yeah.
It's like, who cares?
Why did I download this app? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that thingy. Yeah, that thingy app. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're triple vaxxed. Okay, now put your mask on. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Great, I guess.
I appreciate the safetiness.
Yeah.
I'm still staying the hell away from everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just no.
Yeah. There's no in between for sure.
Yeah. No. I have. How's it been like for you, especially just the convention? Like, do you have people running up to you and you're like?
No, I got COVID right after Creator Clash.
Yeah.
So then, like, that sucked. But then I was like, okay, I've got my little natural immunity for it.
Right.
I'm just like,
you got your multi-pass for a little bit.
Yeah. So,
nice. Okay.
So I don't have to worry about it so much. I know it's going around here right now, I guess, too. Like, I had some volunteers and stuff who were sick, who couldn't come, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, they're worried about that. But, no. Yeah, thankfully, I'm mostly okay. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I haven't done any panels. I haven't. Yeah. Like I stay in this room, do my interviews, and I leave. That's it. I'm not.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I have one panel. It's definitely like a pared down experience. I had a signing yesterday where it's like very person related, I guess. But other than I haven't spent a lot of time like on the floor even then. There's no reason not to, I guess, but I'm still, maybe it's just paranoia baked into my head or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yesterday I walked the floor because you can get in early.
Yeah. So
I was like, I'll just walk the floor. Nobody will be there. And, there's a good group, but I was just like, I'm going to stay to the wall and I'm going to okay, that looks fun, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the showroom floor is definitely smaller for sure.
Yeah.
Which, I'm fine with that. So
yeah. It's pretty packed too. I was, they said like, oh, there's fewer people here this year, just of course. But it felt like a normal convention floor in there.
Yeah.
It's smaller, right?
Yeah.
It's cool, but yeah, this is my first convention since COVID, I guess. So It's all getting used to it again. I'm
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This is how. This is the vibe. All right.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how. I ran into somebody yesterday or I guess Thursday, who was just like, yeah, I went to PAX. I'm like, yeah, how was that?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it was great. It was safe. I'm like, sure, but how was it?
Yeah.
There's always these numbers that they don't want to release and freak people out like me, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, I haven't done anything since the beginning of the pen. Like, I'm just keep me at home. I don't want to do anything. No.
I'm ready. It's just weird because you kind of like, I feel like I put myself in a head state of like, okay, I'm ready to go. It's going to be different. Everybody's vaxxed and stuff, so it's fine. But then you kind of get here, and then it's like everybody's wearing masks, and it's kind of like, then it puts you back in that headspace, where you're like, okay, is this fun? Is it fun to be at a convention where everyone's wearing masks? Like,
right.
Even like for like a fan perspective, like, oh, I got a photo with so and so. I swear it's us. It's like, oh, that really.
You can see it in my eyes.
Yeah. We're smiling.
And see, that's another thing. Like, people look at me, I acknowledge, I smile. That's just my natural thing I do. And then I was like, oh wait, I'm wearing a mask. So it doesn't even matter.
Right.
So they're just like, that creepy person's staring at me, and I'm just crap. Well, I guess I'll stop smiling at people.
Yeah.
But I can't. Yeah.
It sucks. It really takes it takes that element off of it, where then you're like, okay, well, if we're still in this zone, then like is what is it? It was now the time to go and do the convention, or should I just wait it anyway and then
right.
everybody enjoys it more? But I don't know. It's good. I guess it's good that they're trying this. Hopefully it's good.
And it does seem smaller, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
So it's probably the only thing I'm really going to do all year. So I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
And again, just isolate. I sanitize. I have my wipies with me.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I usually rock those too. I'm kind of low key OCD anyway, so I'm like, oh, this is nice. Now I'm like, you use the gas station, but it's just nice. I'm like, I give things a little wipe down, keep it fresh, keep it crisp. It's all good. So I love a good sanitizing wipes.
Yeah.
So.
As far as because talking, it's been a while, and Muscle Party was started during the pandemic and all that.
Yeah.
Are you excited to obviously COVID aside, just get back out there in the conventions? Because I mean, you used to hit them a lot.
Yeah. It's such a different vibe, I guess, because before it was always like a group trip. I always like going to conventions. I always like fan interaction stuff, and that's why RTX for me this year. Like, just because it was always the most. I mean, you come to RTX and like for Couch Up, it's like it's not like PAX West, right? Where there's like a billion agendas you have for going to a PAX West. But like, you come to RTX, you're there to talk to fans, right? Like, there's nothing else on my mind or whatever. So, I missed that during the pandemic. And I am eager to get back out and do it. But now it's kind of just me, or I'll convince like one other person to go to it.
Right.
Some people, it's like, it's the same vibe, right? Some people are like, no, there's no reason for me to go to PAX West. And other people are like, dude, I would love to have an excuse to leave Los Angeles and go to like Seattle or something for the weekend. It's like, so and that's how I feel too, but I don't know. I don't know what like the big cons are like. I don't know what PAX feels like.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've ever been to, like, this is the biggest con I've ever been to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, no, because I always get denied for them. And I used to go to PAX South, and that was just a sad excuse.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh my, it was so bad. And I only went to it once, and that was enough for me.
That's in San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's San Antonio. But yeah, so RTX was always just my time to hang out with people, and but like I have a buddy who's like, why don't you just go to Comic-Con?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, because it's easy. Yeah, here you go. Yeah. Oh, here's my credentials. Okay, passes. How many? Can I get 20?
God.
And I'm just like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're so inundated at a Comic-Con. I'm sure it must be insane for media. Just like, I guess I've only, well, that's not true. I've been a couple times as a fan, but before it was for like Machinima or something. Where they just, they do their whole rigmarole with their blocks and stuff. But yeah, as like an independent media person, God, that would be such a headache.
For sure. And I don't want to do that thing. Like, I only want to talk to people I want to talk to.
Right.
I don't want to talk to, whoever's in this CW show
that
I've never heard of or watched, and just like phone it in, like not to, like Mario Lopez or something. Like, like no, I want to talk to you. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
I've been doing this too long to play the game anymore. I'm like,
Yeah, it's not fun. It's really not.
No.
It's just not. I mean, yeah. So Comic-Con's cool. PAX Prime, I think, would probably that's like the one I like recommend to people the most, just because you're in Seattle. It's kind of near the water.
Yeah.
It's a nice, pretty area. Good time of year. It's not again like PAX East. Like I like going to PAX East, I guess, but like you get stuck in like a blizzard.
Yeah.
Fly in, it's a nightmare. PAX West, it's always a good time of year in Seattle, and then it's big PAX. And so it's the most value for, like, if I was going to a convention, right? Like, if you're like, okay, maybe I like D&D, maybe I like PlayStation games, maybe I want to, like, see some really good cosplay. It's kind of got it all, which is cool. And then it's so big because the convention center is so big.
Yeah.
I've never felt as cramped like at like a Comic-Con where there's just like a like a mosh pit of people trying to go to like some important thing. PAX West, I feel like it was always pretty easy to navigate, which was nice for the most part.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but who knows? Down the line, you feel like there's a reason to go. It's expensive, right?
Yeah. But,
so.
And just kind of, I like keeping the convention theme.
Yeah.
But and you said it earlier how you would usually just travel with a group. Is it weird just being by yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, even for this RTX, I was like, well, I'd like to go to Austin, go to RTX. I was really sick. In 2019, we did like our fan meetup, and then I just got like I was stuck in my hotel room the rest of the trip, so I didn't really get to do much the last time we were here. So I was like, okay, cool, redemption tour, and then I was like, am I just like the ghost, like wandering the wasteland of what what was? Someone's like, I remember your couch hop. I was like, is this gonna be depressing? You just never know. It's like I have no, even like having done Creator Clash, I have no like illusions about like and especially here, right? It's all about like the little subculture audiences and stuff, right? And well, Couch Hop had a huge portion of that. There's like, I'm like, well, none of are they crossover fans? Are they here? Would they also come to see like Funhouse and stuff, or were a lot of them just there? So I didn't know. And then I got here, and it was pretty welcoming. It was nice. I think a lot of the OG RTX fans, or some of the people who watch everything, were still around and stuff. I went to like work out in my weight room at the hotel, and then like I was kind of working out for a bit, and then one person was like, hey, I like the Mafia videos, and I was like, okay. And someone else later on was like, hey man, I didn't want to interrupt your workout, and I was like, okay, all right, the vibe is still alive. So but it's different, right? Or like when you're in a bigger group, it doesn't really matter maybe what you get out of it. Like, you're going for a video or something, right? And then you're just doing some like fan interaction. So it's kind of like justifiable, I guess. But for me, every trip, I'm like, all right, do I want to spend the money? Is it worth, what am I doing? Ooh, suddenly it's like, ooh, it's a lot more. So, yeah, yes, to answer your question, it's definitely different. But it's been positive. I had a scaled down signing, which was, for me, was kind of nice because I could kind of just shoot the shit with everybody who came up. It wasn't like guys, there's 200 people behind you. We got to keep it moving, keep it moving. Yeah.
And you're spelling names wrong. And you're just scribbling at
my
that
own
point.
name wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, bye. That's a name somewhere.
Yeah. So I felt like, that was cool. Like, for the people who did turn up, it was like, okay, let's sit and talk for a minute. Oh, you drove from like Missouri? Oh my God, that's insane. Just like have a little conversation, which was cool. So,
nice.
So far so good. We'll see. I probably will hit PAX West later this year.
Yeah.
Because that's usually around Alex's birthday, and so I might be able to convince him to be like, all right, let's go let's go have a weekend out and do some stuff. So but we'll see.
Nice. Well, it's because I'm in that same category. Obviously, like, I'm not a YouTube person, but I've been coming since 2014. So there's groups that are like like Cow Chop and all them who I'm just like, this is even Sugar Pine. I was like, hell yeah. And then it's just like, okay. At least I still like Funhouse. I still got Funhouse. Okay, all right, cool. But I'm just like, how crazy like things have changed, groups have changed, conventions have changed. I always get to the point where I just doubt myself. I'm like, I shouldn't go because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to talk to, but I still watch the content.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oh, if only you were here in 2015 and 16.
Yeah.
Those were the years. Yeah.
But Let's Play Family was thriving. And, all these crazy groups. And yeah. Oh, that's funny. Because, the same doubt. It's like, yeah, is there a reason? Okay. It's just different. I mean, and I don't know. Like, Rooster Teeth is to me, feels like such a strange anomaly because, it had that heyday, but then, like, like Achievement Hunter has always kind of carried, like, internally, right? Like, it's just been the mainstay. And then there's main channel fans, right? People always come to see Barb. They always come to see, like, like the big faces and stuff. And so it's, but I'm not, I feel like, obviously, especially after Couch Up ended and then the pandemic ended, I'm definitely not plugged into, like, what is new.
Right.
I know they've got, like, new iterations, like, what's the one? Like, Super Team Force.
Squad Team Force.
Squad Team Force, yeah. So I'm like, okay, so like they're doing stuff, but I'm out of the loop. I'm I'm with you, bro. It's weird.
Well, and then can we talk about like the ending of Couch Up and just how like was that overall like the ending of it, like from a fan perspective, or from fans talking to you, was that a good positive kind of experience?
I think it was. I feel like I mean, insofar as I've seen from talking to people or reading, people posting about stuff or whatever, that I guess at least like we communicated what we wanted to do, and then delivered on it in the way that we said it was going to be. And I feel like people were happy that it wasn't like some channels you don't get the goodbyes, like Sugar Pine 7, right? Like it was less of a finite thing of like knowing what's happening, right? Sometimes you like a channel and then it has like a slow death, and Sugar Pine 7's still going, so it's not as good of an example, but you know what I mean? Like for a while there, you're like, okay, is it done? Are we done? Are we ever going to get another episode? And hope kind of endures in like maybe like a painful way, which, for them, maybe it was rewarded now because like James and Kib are like, making vlogs again and stuff. But for us being like, okay, look, when this ends, get your fix. And there are people who still haven't watched the last episode. And I'm like, just make your peace with it and watch the last episode. Right. It doesn't change anything that you haven't watched the last episode. I get that. It's like I'm never going to tear the Band-Aid off. It's like it's gone. Right. So like at least enjoy your last fix.
But you said that one time that you would accidentally upload back in like 2020s something. So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. I'm like no, it's just a bit. But then what I like too is, there was no circumstance that forced us to get rid of the channel or like delete videos and stuff. So like people are like, yo, even like yesterday, like, oh, I just did a rewatch of like the cooking show, or like, I did a whole channel rewatch or whatever. And it's like, okay, so it's done. There's a finite library of like 3.5 years or whatever. And like, and it's there. It's going to be there for, hopefully indefinitely. And, and then there's just no ambiguity, I guess. It's like, okay, you can follow Alex, you can follow James. I feel like unintentionally or otherwise tried to be this conduit between the past and the present, right? Like Off Canny, right? They go off and they're doing a great job. Yeah. But there's really no desire there to like have that bridge between the groups, right? Like I think ideally for them, you would find them as an independent audience, and just discover them on their own, right? Yeah. And then like James and Alex, who've been on the internet, for most of their lives, they already exist in that kind of like, all terrain, all timelines thing. But for me, I try to be like, okay, look, I get the nostalgia for Couch Up. Fans miss it. I miss elements of it. I'm not embarrassed or I don't find it cringy or whatever. So I'm happy. Like, it's beneficial to me, obviously, to also pander to it. Yeah. But I'm also like happy to do it for other people's sake and not just like, it's not like it's a huge boost, but it's like, I make a TikTok and then I'm just posting like old Couch Up clips. Like, it's like, it's fun. It's not like I'm making money on TikTok, but it's just like, it's like, okay, cool. We're all having a good time. Yeah. So I feel like, maybe more than anybody, still making content in the group that's like maybe like my vibe, right? Like I'm like, I like Muscle Party, but I don't expect you to like Muscle Party like independently, just because it is kind of an oddity. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I started this brand, and then the pandemic hit, and then all this shit happened.
Yeah.
And like people who watch like Creator Clash, and they're like, yeah, I think I remember that guy from like Machinima.
Yeah.
Or like, what? He's still making videos? So I get it. It's like a weird, confusing category that's not like a strong thing. So I'm happy to exist in multiple kind of phases. And I'm like, maybe you saw me in boxing. Maybe you saw me on Machinima Realm. Maybe you watched Cow Chop for like a week. Whatever. Whatever lets you come up and be like, hey, man, what's up? It's like, I'm happy with it. So that was kind of a meandering answer to your question, though, but I think, I do think it was satisfying. I think we were satisfied with it, and it seems like people were decently satisfied.
Well, it was, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. It just seems like since the end was coming, you were like, you know what, or all of you guys were just like, let's kind of push the let's do more scripted stuff, more artsy stuff, recorded, stuff like that. Like, we got these cameras, let's use them.
Yeah.
Did you want to bring that energy into Muscle Party or like anything like that?
I did, and it's funny because like towards the end of Cow Chop, it was not so much a conscious thing. I mean, a little bit of that, like, we should do, like, we're not going to just like film a bunch of gameplay, like VR gameplay videos and call those the last episodes or whatever, right? But it was also just us. There was like a freedom in knowing that, not the obligation, but just like we weren't doing it because it was like our daily job. We were doing it because, it was coming to an end. And sometimes when things are coming to an end, there's an end in sight. You just like let loose a little bit, right? So some of those videos are a little unhinged or whatever, in a way that was just like, whatever. We're here because we want to be here and because it's fun, right? I did want to take that to Muscle Party, and I did it first. But again, it's like this whole thing where, when you have a company with like 9 people, and you can like really cover the spread of things,
right?
And then it's just you, and I'm like, I kind of know how the cameras work. I mean, I went to film school, but I haven't like shot,
right?
I cinematography degree, and I'm like, when was the last time I actually shot something? Just doing that.
And back then it was probably film, right? Like,
film. I did a little bit of film, and then it was like back when like Final Cut Pro still existed and stuff. So shooting like a mini DV and what's that? I'm trying to think. The Canon that had like the weird shape, XL1. Is what I'm thinking of. Anyways,
looked like a trumpet or something like that.
It had like that cool curved shape to it. So all that stuff. So so it's hard, and then. Also, just the inconsistency, it's like Cow Chop. You're like, here's the work days, da-da-da-da-da. But then I'm like, I need an editor to work on a video like once a month while I'm like training for boxing or doing some other random shit. So, and it's been cool. I've met a few people who have been like, kind of like, look, I would like to work with you, and I'm not really so worried about it being like a full-time gig. Like, okay, well, let me edit on this video. Let me help you do this better, and that's been kind of cool. So I'm hoping that continues, and maybe I can get that on the camera department at some point. But it is a lot harder unless you're like one of those dudes. And there are people who are on it, who are like, here's my drone. I set this camera to do this. Here's my other shots. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just a little bit messier.
You're just like, cool.
Yeah. And there's no excuse for it. I mean, I could obviously devote the time. It's just, I don't know. It's just that time.
But you're also the subject though.
Yeah.
In it. So it's just like, I got to think about this thing too.
Yeah.
It's just easier. Like, okay, you do your thing and I'll just do my thing and just capture it.
Yeah. It does relieve some of the pressure and doubt. And I'm second guessing myself all the time anyway. But when you can be like, okay, well, at least the camera work maybe won't suck if it's something I don't. If I let someone who's good at it do that, then I can just focus on like, not being cringe on camera.
Yeah.
And then that's a good place for me to be.
Yeah.
Everybody can kind of just, because it did kind of feel like crawling out of, a wreckage of sort, and then being like, okay, all right, I can still do these things, right? I think I can do these.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting, I guess.
Well, and then as somebody who's done this a long time, and you said you second guess yourself. Do you have a hard time watching yourself?
Oh yeah. I what's weird is well, it's not weird, I guess. There's stuff you make that you feel good about, right? And there's like videos where I'm like, this was a good video.
Yeah.
And as it regards to like being on camera, this was a video where I feel like I played my part well in the video, right? Like I watched like whatever, there are examples of it. And then there's examples of it where I'm like, wow, I really annoy myself in this video, and I would rather, not link to this. Maybe other people think it's funny. I'm going to cut myself out of this clip when I repost it on TikTok just because I'm kind of annoying at the start of the clip.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that exists, and so it's maybe it's like a performer issue. I'm sure maybe actors in a much more serious way have movies where you're like, I liked my performance in this movie. I don't mind seeing this in a movie where you're like, for whatever reason, this bugs me, and I have trouble rewatching that. So I have a lot of that. I don't really, and then you have to edit yourself sometimes too, and that's nice because then you can just you're like, this sucks, you're not funny here. So I don't know. It varies. I guess I don't have trouble watching myself when I feel like I did a decent job. But when something's annoying me, I'm just like, it's just the worst.
Can I just cut myself? Can we replace myself with somebody else, please?
Yeah. And when you're like, for me, suddenly having to be the sole focus of videos again, then I feel like that your brain is hardwired to expect to feel that way. And so when I was first making those videos where I'm like, I'm gonna just talk at the camera. And I'm like, oh, God, you feel so awkward. Because for me, the most comfortable place to be is okay, someone turns the camera on, and there's maybe me and a couple other people, and it's okay, be funny in a group, or just play off of each other. And that's just what we did for so long, and that's awesome. I could do that all day.
Yeah.
And then worse than that is be on camera, but you kind of know you're doing something specifically, right? Do this and then interact with this product. Mm-hmm. And then the absolute worst is I wrote a script, now deliver it to camera as well as it sounded in my head when I wrote it. And there's nothing else that can save it except hopefully the editing. That's what some of these videos have been like for me, where I'm just like, let me talk about Creator Clash. I'm just like, oh my God. This is just 30 minutes of me talking to the camera. Why did I do this? And so, it's just you got to get comfortable with it again, right? It's just like everything, I guess. You fall off the bike, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this again until I stop hating it, and just force yourself into that discomfort. But it's good, I guess. It's good that, if it felt comfortable all the time, I'm sure it wouldn't be anything at all. So. I forgot what the question was. I feel like I just
no, you answered it. If you can rewatch yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Which and it's so funny just because, I have friends that edit, and we would act in each other's things, and I don't know what it is, but I'm just like, that guy looks like me. That's cool. Anyway, moving on. When I edit the podcast, oh, this guy sounds like me. That's cool. Anyway, and I just completely forget, oh, it's me. Yeah. I'm the same person. Oh. No. And I just find it fascinating because, I get we all have our issues, and I get people don't like the way they look, but I'm just I know how I look. Why would I? Yeah. That's my face. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep going. I know my voice. I know, it's why are you surprised when you hear your voice? Yeah. And I'm just like, come on, just edit. Come on, hurry up. Just get it done.
Well, I think that speaks to a confidence you have that maybe a lot of people, where it's it should be that easy. What you're describing is as direct and practical as anything could be. Yeah. But it just, something is missing in some of us where we're like, but also I have this perception of how I'm sounding to myself right now, and then I see it, and the cognitive dissonance between what there's nothing. You're right. I mean, this is just me right now. I listen to this podcast later, and then I'm like, why didn't you talk so much? Why don't you just shut up? But that's not normal. I don't, it's whatever. So I like what you described, though. That seems like a healthy way to do it, where I'm just like, it's like a doppelganger or something. Yeah. You're like, that's the Brett, that's Brett clone 12. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's like a guy who, like me, I don't know. I guess it's like if Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill were Mexican. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Who knows? Anyway, moving on. Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever. But it's just, I get a kick out of it. And getting older, I forget things, and especially doing this podcast, I forget people who I've chatted with, which is, I never thought I'd get to that point. But, still, I just see something, I'm like, oh, that's right, I did work on that, or I did do that. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's the same, obviously. Again, you've been doing this for a while. It's just like,
I'm old too. So yeah.
Why?
People will be like, they'll be like, oh, remember this video? And I'm like, I was in that video? That happened? No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you. It's it's strange. And it's you know, it's just the volume of your work, right?
Yeah.
Like it feels bad in the moment, but like of course you would forget interviews you've done. How many? I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, right? So it's like, okay, whatever. You know, it's like it sucks worse on a fan thing where I try to be really diligent about it. But I'm also a person where like if I read a name and then see a picture of a face and like have an interaction that way, I'm really good with it. But when you're kind of like when you're at a convention and someone will be like, "Hey, I'm Andy," da 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 da, and then maybe you see him again in a couple days, and they're like, and then you're like, "What was that guy's name?" But you heard like 20 other names delivered the same
exactly.
way.
And
that's what sucks.
No offense to Andy. Andy's that's a standard name.
Yeah, and that's just how my brain works, right? Like it's just like input, versus like, okay, if we were talking on Twitter, I tend to remember those a little easier, or like the context of a conversation we had.
Even you're good about people on Twitch too. Like you remember, obviously, again, you're not going to have like Andy hanging out in there, but
it helps that it's like Stoner Lord Lizard King 191. I'm like, oh, dude, that guy's funny. Okay, so the uniqueness of that. But Twitch is hard too. Sometimes I'm like, I'll like forget how to say someone's name, and then I'll see it again, and my brain is like, is that the person's name you couldn't remember last time, or is this a different name you can't pronounce correctly?
Right?
Are you going senile? And I'm like, I don't know. Any of this could be true, but I don't know if people care as much as, you know what I mean, at the end of the day.
If you have a weirdo name, then you have to expect weirdo results, you know? And it's that doing this podcast, I'm very afraid of getting people's names wrong when it's just a normal name or last name, whatever. Yeah. So if it's, like I said, if it's a weirdo screen name, who cares? Yeah. You know what? Whatever. Yeah. No, I have to give you props. You're the only one who gets my screen name right because it's literally just my initials. Yeah. But people are like, it's Mr. CMH. That's it. Okay. That's it. They're like, oh, Mr. Come. And I'm just, it's my initials. Whatever, man. Whatever. Yeah. I was in, who was it? I was in Clayton's chat and he was like, oh, Mr. Come, thank you for and I'm just, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That might be Kib's. That might be a Kib specific issue. Yeah, a Kibism. Yeah, 100%. But it's funny though too. Even the name thing. I mean, I'm sure there's people who would be offended on some level, but I'm like, bro, I share a name with like a pro football guy. Also, like, who cares if someone calls me Brad? Sometimes I won't even correct them, or Brent or whatever. It's just like it just doesn't. In the scheme of things, it's not even worth. You know what I mean? Unless it was like promoting something where it mattered, but it's like, so I'm sure how it feels to you, or how it would feel to me, where I have the same worries, and then the person's like, no, dude, it's Chad, not Chud. I don't know. Chud's not even a name, but okay.
How dare you besmirch the name of Chud?
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, no one cares really. But we beat ourselves up over too many dumb things, I guess.
And then I want to get in a little bit in creator class, just because I was watching the doc, or the behind the scenes. There were a lot of shots of you just like get into it in your own headspace. Were you just trying to tune everything out, get it? Like at what point they put on the gloves? Were you just like, well, I guess this is happening. I can't go bathroom now, so I guess. Yeah,
it was weird, right? So much of Creator Clash, you kind of have like, just because you don't have a concrete, what am I trying to say? Like a concrete analog, I guess, of like what it's going to be like, right? It's a pure unknown. You know you're going to be fighting someone, but really, what does that mean? And like be in a boxing match and like all those people are going to be watching. You just have your own version of it. So. Some people were probably more nervous. I feel like I was less nervous just because it didn't feel like anything to me. It felt like I was just someone said made up words to me. Like, you're going to fight AB and a Yingling Arena. What? No, what does any of that mean?
What?
So even getting there, that day, and then you're kind of like, I kept seeing AB on the bus and the thing, and I'm like, we're gonna fight. This doesn't make any sense. And then you're kind of like, you're getting dressed and you're backstage, and a lot of those shots, I'm like, is there a point? I'm asking myself, I'm like, is there a point where I need to like focus? And we're watching the first two fights and like laughing and like watching it, and I'm like, wait, I'm fighting soon, aren't I? Right. Yeah. I'm gonna be on the television that we're watching now doing this. Yeah. And then like, yeah, they kind of whatever it was just chaos backstage. And so I got my gloves and then they didn't fit. And I was like, wait a minute. This is like now we slid the other way. I'm like, I don't get to warm up. We're just like, it's literally just happening. And then it kind of got real, really, really fast. And then like I'm being interviewed and I'm just like, it's just weird. The whole thing was so surreal. At every point it was me trying to just like ground myself in some kind of reality. So sometimes, I was just trying to like calm down and breathe just to be like, okay, let's not have everything hit you at once when you step into the ring and like have a panic attack. And then other times being like, okay, let's try to visualize it a bit. I mean, I don't know. For a first timer, and which all of us were, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just a different planet.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay. Some people were handling it differently, and I was just like, all right, I'll just be quiet. That's always a good. That's always a good go-to. It's just sit quietly with your thoughts and be like, all right, we'll figure it out. But yeah, something else.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would. I would do it again, man. People. So we had like a Discord for Creator Clash, and so like everybody afterwards, there were some people like me, or I'm just like, I just don't want to think. I need a break, right? I just need. I don't want to think about boxing. I don't want to look at boxing.
If I see an Amazon box, I'm gonna freak out. Nothing.
Yes. Yeah. No association in any way.
Yeah.
And just because it was like, it was a big chunk of time of just like, okay, every night, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then there are people who did it immediately and were like, I'm ready. I'm gonna do it again. What's box next week? Let's go to it. I'm just like, bro, chill. It's summertime. Everybody calm down.
Right.
So like, and there's people like, like Dad, for example, who's just like turbocharged with like 16 lithium ion batteries. He's like, I'm gonna go do WWE. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna do this. Now I'm on tour of the Game Grumps. Hey, I'm gonna go fight this guy. I'm gonna fight this guy. And I'm just like, okay, I am not that energy. I am like, let me go sit in my house in a quiet room and think about the fact that what we just did. Let's just enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go to the pool next week. I'm gonna just enjoy that. But and then as time goes on, but then also they come down from Creator Clash, right? Like you have this like insane, crazy night, right? Where you're like, oh my God, I was part of something bigger than myself, and we raised money for charity. And it was cool, and it's like all eyes on you. And then the next week you're like back at home, and you're like, should I walk the dog? Should I feed myself today? I'm not training tonight. Should I go for a walk? Yeah, you're just like, it's like that cliche, I guess, and it's it's not like it was like, I don't know what the normally is. It felt like getting out of prison or something.
Right.
You're like, ooh, what's I have a normal life again. So then you kind of miss it, and I'm like, ooh, that's like Stockholm syndrome. That's like how they get you back in to do another boxing match.
Yeah, this is your life now.
Yeah, and there are some people on Instagram who'd be like, hey man, you want to box me? I'm like, absolutely not, 100%, zero interest. I'm not a boxer. I did it for Creator Clash, but like, would I do it for something like that again? Yes, because I think they did such a good job, and I know we've talked about this to death, but like they did such a good job of preparing us and being there for us and answering our questions and knowing that we were doing it for like a good cause and not just like self-aggrandizement or anything. It started off on the right foot, and I think that helped it be what it would be. And so like Creator Clash, whatever future iterations it has, like I think that's like a selling point for people who will participate. It's not like, oh, I'm in some weird shady thing that's like weirdly promoted and whatever, or people excuse me, or people who have legitimate beef, where it just gets a little messier. You know what I mean? Like you can have like a grudge or a healthy dose of whatever, but it was all love for everybody ultimately, I think, in that opponent-wise, which was refreshing.
Right. I feel like if you're going to do it for charity, it should be like that, because then it's just like, I don't know. Like, because when I hear celebrity boxing, of course, within past years, I've heard just like whatever the Paul Logan, whatever them. And so when I heard you were doing it, I saw the videos and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting. But again, when the behind the scenes came out and you had your trainer on there and saying, look, like, this is not a game for me. Like, this is my life. And, he distilled that, respect into you. And I was just like, oh, okay. So this is actually like a nice, legit thing. It's not like, you train a couple hours a day and you go party at night, and then
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
I guess we'll fight.
Yeah.
So I that aspect I did appreciate, just because I was like, okay, this is legitimate.
Yeah. And what I think, like what my coach says or keeps saying afterwards, is just like he felt like it was really good of like inspiring people who watched it to like come into the sport of boxing from like a good place, right? Like you see it and people were doing what they were supposed to do. There weren't like headbutt fights. There weren't like, you know, crazy shit. And then hopefully that helps, you know, bring new people into the sport or whatever, which is awesome. And for us, it was the same window, right? Like maybe we're all not necessarily, some of us, I guess, are boxing fans. Maybe not everybody. I'm sure like Michael Reeves was like, all right, I'm done. Thank you very much. I came, I saw, I conquered. I'm back to building robots and you know, being
beep,
Michael.
Beep, bop, bloop, and bye.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. Anyways, it was good all around, and I think we at least appreciated where we were supposed to be coming from, whether or not we all, you know, delivered on it or whatever. So that's cool.
Nice. And for the people at home who'd like to follow you online, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Twitter's always good. Which is just at Hundar, but I have a YouTube channel that's called Muscle Party. That's like where my long form videos go. So if you're interested in following, like all the Creator Clash stuff is there if you missed any of it. Future stuff, collabs. Like I just shot a thing with Alex from Couch Hop and Adria, where we just kind of like sit down and just like, you know, we did like a yearly kind of catch up. Like what have you been working on? Hopefully the audio's good and that will go up. If you prefer streaming, I'm on Twitch. I stream like once a week, but it's kind of just chill, hang out, you know, shit posts. Let's watch some YouTube.
Watch Bar Rescue.
Watch Bar Rescue. We watch Street Beefs, like underground backyard fighting.
Who's the Poppy guy?
The Poppy guy?
Yeah, he's like, hey, Poppy. He drinks. I forget who
we watch. It's Fast Freddy Foodie King.
Oh, okay, yes.
I'm obsessed with YouTube food reviewers. I don't know why. It's just something I got into, and it's just because it's such a weird, like, rogues gallery of personalities.
Right.
So we watch a lot of like weirdos reviewing food. Weirdos like us. I say that with love. They're just some random personalities, but yeah, Freddy is he's on his own level. And then lastly, if you are, you know, if you're on TikTok and you're a Couch Hop fan or a Muscle Party fan, I kind of, you know, it's whatever. It's Muscle Party on TikTok. Repurpose a lot of just like little funny moments from the past and then like new stuff. And sometimes I just shit post meme or whatever, but that's just like another way to keep track of things. If it's, you know, whatever your flavor is, we're all busy. Okay? Stranger Things season dropped. There's like, they drop like two-hour movies as their final episodes. There's a lot. The Boys, you know, whatever you got to watch, I get it. I get it. Yeah. So whatever you got time for, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch, I'm on TikTok. You can just shoot me you can just tweet at me, and I feel like I'm pretty diligent. I feel like there's very little I don't respond to on Twitter.
Yeah.
So whatever works. I appreciate the attention anywhere I can get it. I will pander for relevancy anywhere. So,
perfect. But thank you so much for chatting.
Always nice. This meeting room. This is the vibe.
Yeah.
This is the place. You come here and it's just like an liminal space between the ungodly heat outside, and then the crowds in the air condition. So
it's just there's no one here, and I loved it. And the same was yesterday. I was like, I get to set up. I get to everyone leave me alone. This is perfect. But also on the flip side, you know, if it wasn't a pandemic, whenever I go to the media room, there's tons of people like, you know, small media working, and you know, I would converse with all of them and like, hey, how's it going? What's your stuff? And silently judge their content, but whatever, because I can't help it. I'm just like, really? You don't have you're using a GoPro for everything? Okay, fair enough. You know, you can get camera. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But you know, but now, like, I feel like I'm alone because I don't have anybody.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, it's just weird. It's a weird feeling.
Big mood.
Yeah, for sure. But it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.